Thank you for joining me for the second episode of my asset score. I apologize for the production value on the first one. We're trying to get better, but I'm learning these things as I go. So hopefully you can just bear with us until we can get up to just at least a reasonable uh, visual and audio experience here. So the second episode, and I'm still kind of targeting the cash flow, and we're really targeting cash flow of business owners today. So it's just the concept that you need to profit first with your businesses, and you really need to manage your cash flow. So there's a lot of books written on this topic, and I'm not saying that this is the only book or the best book or anything like that, but this is the book that kind of clicked for me. So I do want to mention this one. It's by Michael McCallowitz, and it just talks about how you think about cash flow. So the traditional method about thinking about this would be you take sales and you deduct expenses and you're left with profit. Profit first, take sales and it deducts profit, and then you're left with expenses. And it's just this idea that you're doing this in order to profit, or in order to manage a good business, so that you really need to always make sure profit's there. And if it can't be there, you're kind of just spinning your wheels. So then I think you would really need to look at your business to say, is it worthwhile, or is there something wrong with your pricing, or are you bloated, or something probably needs to significantly change. But the way he sets this up is that basically step one is to make sure that you have multiple bank accounts. And so he says you need to have an income account, an operating account, a profit account, an owner's pay account, and a tax account. We've done ours at Chase Bank, and we have to pay a flat fee for having so many accounts. But to us, it's worth it because we can manage the system, and it's just made my ability to manage the cash flow of our business so much easier. I'm not a natural saver or natural budgeter, so this is something that I have to consciously think about. This system has made it much easier for me. So again, with a lot of business ideas, it's not so much who has the absolute best idea. It's, can you take an idea and can you implement it and make it work? And so this is the one that's worked for us. Step two would be setting target allocation percentages. This one takes a little bit of work because you can't just name percentages and then assume your business can do it right away. I think this one, you have to go back through your books and see where you are, maybe for the last 6 to 12 months, and have your percentages based on that. And then I think you put, your goal, whether it's like 12 months out or whatever, to where you'd like these allocation percentages to be. And I think you make very gradual changes, or try to improve gradually to get closer to your goal. This is not an area where I think it's a good idea to set ambitious goals and backtrack. I think you set very minor goals, or incremental goals, and you don't backtrack. It just seems like, because once you get in the habit of setting these big goals out and then not getting there, I think your budget's kind of blown. So I think it's better just to do it incrementally and just make short improvements or small improvements consistently. And so that's at least what I recommend. We've also adjusted this a little for us. We've wanted to put in a long-term savings / R&D kind of account. So we are allocating a percentage to that account. And you can see these are the percentages that we use. The third step is the actual transferring of money. So the author says to pick 2 dates a month and just move the money from the income account according to your percentages into the other accounts. And I think he just reminds you to be disciplined with spending and always try to be reducing operating expenses, and that'll lead to an increase in profit. So that's kind of what this book is about. But more importantly, this is just the idea of cash flow is what kind of keeps, obviously keeps the doors open as a small business owner. But this is the difference between always kind of treading water and actually swimming towards a goal. So when we're talking about that cash flow conversion that we talked about in the first episode, most of your big or your gains in having marketable assets will be because you can invest money consistently. And in order to do that as a business owner, you have to have really firm grasp of your cash flow. And so this is really step one for a business owner, is to get this under control and get an amount where you can invest regularly into your various assets, because we can't really predict when these assets are going to run. I'll talk a little later in a later episode about some of the assets I've had run, and I couldn't have predicted when these were going to happen, but I just am so grateful that I had the money there when they did run, because some of these were flat for a very long time, and then all of a sudden and uncontrollably they had big moves. And if I wouldn't have had the money in there, if I went to first had my cash flow from my business under control and had the money exposed into these different investments, I would have never been able to take advantage of those. So just super grateful that this book came along. It clicked with me, and that I could take this step, and then that would lead to the cash flow conversion into the getting into marketable assets step. So thank you for joining me for episode 2. We'll be coming out with more episodes, and I just really love it if you guys would subscribe, and then also leave comments, and just if you could share what's working for you. Yeah, I'd love to get a conversation going here. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.